Quiet on set. Okay.
I want to do the intro.
Why do you want to do the intro?
Because I want to do the intro.
What intro do you want to do?
What's the name of the podcast again?
And that's why you don't do the intro.
I want to do the intro.
What do you want to do?
Annyeong.
Silence!
I just want everyone to
this.
go Annyeong.
Disembodied voice from nowhere. Welcome to the Lazy Monday podcast.
If we come out on Monday.
If we come out on Monday. Shut up, I'm lazy.
Wait, is this real? Is this starting?
Yes.
I feel like you ask that every single time we start recording.
No.
Annyeong.
We're in the Matrix. Thing.
Sorry.
Thank you for blowing out the mic.
I had to. It was my duty.
All right. I guess since there's not two of us, we should introduce ourselves. I'm Sage.
I'm Zane.
And I'm Marcus.
But
Welcome
Still not funny.
to the Shadowrunner podcast,
Still not funny.
also known as the Crack Rum podcast.
I love when people run jokes into the ground every single episode.
Hey. Bitch, don't kill my vibe.
Is that all you have to say?
Yes.
That's what happens.
I
So-
plead the fifth.
So, how have you guys been? It's been a while since we've got the band back together
I've seen you like every week.
I
to have
haven't.
sex, right? Yeah.
We weren't going to talk about that.
Listen. Everyone needs to know of our secret love. Everyone thinks we do anyway. Like, we meet each other so much. We have a name now.
What is it?
It's
Now have
had a name. Nage.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nage. Nate and Sage.
pretty
Nage.
weird. They're just jealous, you know?
I ship it.
It's guy love.
OTP.
Team Nate and Sage. Zane, you're just the third wheel in this whole thing.
We could try adding my name into it, right?
Yeah. It's incest if we do anything else.
Nizage.
Nope.
Nope. Doesn't work.
Done.
Just the Z. The Z ruins everything. It just doesn't flow.
I would disagree.
How so?
Oh, yeah? How many Z names do you know?
Zebras. Dumbass.
Yeah, zebras.
That's
There you go.
that's
That's
a
all you
name.
need. Zebras.
Zebras?
Yeah. And I'm good.
That's just one name. That's not multiple.
Not to point out my own joke, but the fact that you said how many and my answer was zebras is I thought I was pretty clever.
It's going to be one of those days, isn't it?
It's a lazy podcast. So today we didn't do a podcast on the day of. We recently had a little bit of mourning at the beginning of this week.
Yep.
A very
1st of
inspirational
February.
figure had passed away. In fact, I'm honestly going to try my best to not really choke up too much at this because I still am struggling with it. But Monty Ohm, who is the lead animator for Red vs. Blue season 9 and 10. He started the show Ruby with Rooster Teeth and was just an overall good guy. He
Created
passed
Dead
away.
Fantasy. That was an awesome series, too.
Yeah, he
And Haloid.
Yeah.
Which
I
was
think
not a series,
everybody-
but-
it's not a series, but Haloid
Yeah.
will always be like one of my favorite videos on the
He was
internet.
just an overall great creator.
yeah.
It's very sad that we lost him.
It was basically, it sounds like from what Rooster Teeth had posted about it, was he went in for a basic medical procedure, had a bad allergic reaction, and his body just couldn't cover it. He was in a coma, so he didn't feel any pain, which I'm thankful for that, and my heart goes out to the family. I think it's really tough because and Nate, you would know the most about this. He's kind of the reason why you got into 3D and 3D animation. I mean, you said last podcast that I pointed you towards Blender, but I mean everything you ever have wanted to make was inspired somehow by Monty Ohm, and it was it's rough.
Yeah, he was just like kind of an idol, just the way that he could animate and bring these characters to life and just make these overall just amazing bits of action and stuff. That it's very sad that we had to I guess go through such a thing, but as Rooster Teeth says, we should all honor him by doing something creative.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. His motto was keep moving forward. And you know, I really was happy to see. I was on Twitter, you know, the whole time until I kind of couldn't take it a little bit. You know, all the fan art and pictures. It was amazing. They made so much money, so much support from the Rooster Teeth community that I'm very happy to be a part of. And it's one of those things where I saw so many people just be like, you know what, that one thing that I've been putting off, that I've been waiting to do, you know, I saw people posting finally. I'm doing it. I'm doing it now. I'm starting it. I'm moving forward. I mean, oddly enough, this podcast kind of came back a little bit because of that. You know, we didn't really know. I didn't really know about it when we started up the last episode, but I kind of have been kicking my own butt into gear a little bit to you know, keep moving on, keep moving forward. And he was a hard worker. I mean, you go on the Rooster Teeth site if you got some time at all. Watch the memento video. I'm not sure if I'm using the right word there, but
The tribute video.
Thank you. Yeah, the tribute. Definitely watch that. You know, he was a very inspiring person, and it's a loss for everyone. And my heart goes out to him and his family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts?
I just think it was amazing. One of the biggest things that he'll it's kind of I'm kind of restating mostly what you just said, but every time he had like an interview with someone, one of his biggest things was he always put 110 into like almost everything he did. And if you see his setup of his computers that I've seen like pictures of, he had so many monitors so he could do work while getting his entertainment, while doing other work. He didn't lose a moment of his life. He did everything that he could at all times, and that's an amazing thing that I think everybody should remember about him. And
Ripping keys out of his keyboard and things like that.
Yeah,
and speed his process up.
And like take that with you. Take that lesson that you should always put 110 into everything you do and do it right.
Yeah.
And yeah. And I also learned stuff about him from this that I actually didn't know in the first place. Like Afro Samurai, the video game. I always just walked by it in game stores, but I heard that he actually worked in the development of that game, and he apparently gave that game its basic combat system. Like he, for the most part, built the combat system, and on top of that, he made not made the engine, but he gave them the idea of when you chop things, it like cuts in half, which then we see that influence like further games like Metal Gear Rising. We see that come into there, and stuff he did back in Haloid and animation stuff. We see people getting ideas from that. Just so much of the stuff he did influenced so many people, and you get to see it, and it's pretty amazing now that I can go back and I can look at all the stuff he himself has changed, and that's also because he put in so much work and so much effort, and it's inspiring.
Yeah,
it's amazing, really.
Definitely. I have one sad story just to tell, and I was telling you, Nate, this off the podcast. Was the fact that the day that the day after we found out, I decided I was gonna pull out a shirt that I don't wear because I got it signed, and I don't like getting those shirts dirty. I try my best to when I get a shirt signed or something, I want to preserve that. So I don't wear the shirt very often, but it was a Ruby shirt that we had randomly, me and you, like we're just like, let's go down to Austin this weekend, and we decided this on Thursday night, I think.
That conversation was interesting because I remember going into the Cage where we worked at the time.
The Cage is the film school rental house.
Yeah.
For those who aren't familiar.
Yeah, and I was just cleaning cables, and Sage walks in. He's all, "Hey, we're going to South by Southwest. You down?" I was all, "Okay, where is it?" "It's in Austin, Texas." "Okay, how are we gonna get there? You mind driving?"
Yep. And we were in the car and heading out the next day, and that was the first time I ever got to meet Monty. Actually, I got to see him, and this is where the sad part kind of comes in, because it was a great trip. It was amazing. I loved it. But
Slept
I
in the
bought
car.
I bought a shirt, and I knew I was going to buy a shirt from the Rooster Teeth booth that they had there. And I bought a Ruby shirt because I hadn't gotten anything Ruby yet since the show had come out. And Barbara, Lindsay, Aaron, and Kara were all there to sign. So I got them to sign the shirt, and then later we came back, and Monty was there. Monty was there with I think Ryan, and there was someone else. It was I think someone who was a convention worker or somebody. But anyway, unfortunately I didn't commit their name to memory. But whoever you are, thank you for being there. And I was just, I don't know why, but I don't ever do this. People are people, but I got too starstruck, I guess would be the word. I got a picture with them. I at least was able to do that, but I was like, I don't want to waste their time. I don't want to do anything, to piss them off or anything. There are people behind me waiting in line to shake their hand and meet them. I don't want to take up too much of their time. So I just got the picture. I never got the signature on that shirt. And I wore that shirt, and I kind of looked down on it where I was going to ask him to sign it. And, I just kind of thought, it's, I'm not going to get that. I'm never going to get that signature. I'm never going to get to I've always wanted to work at Rooster Teeth with Rooster Teeth and things like that. And I won't get to do that. And that was the tough memory for me. That was, I think, my moment of this is real kind of thing. I wanted it to be a cruel joke. I wanted to, and I love how I act like I knew the guy forever or anything like that. I didn't really, but just from what he made, I felt like I knew him.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
Well, now that all the people who listen to this podcast because they think we're funny, which is 0 people, but have left because we're being depressing and sad, let's we can move on to our next topics.
Let's get the energy up. Let's get some
Woo woo.
Well,
the sunny side of things.
Speaking of doing things in visual effects, I was actually over with a friend of ours, Brian Tooker. I know we've messaged him on the past, so I don't really feel like. But he was showing me this French Netflix commercial, and like all the visual effects behind it, and how oddly simple it is, but how amazing the effects are. You should definitely look it up. I'm going to post a link in the description to check it out. What did you guys think about that? I showed it to you right before the podcast.
Production value. That was a really good commercial. Like, VFX were so well executed, and I know you don't like the desert shot that they have in the beginning, but some of the stuff they do, it's just like, why can't we do that? And then I realized, it's because my computer sets on fire if I try to roto this for too long.
My computer almost set on fire when I was doing a little effect and I put on some motion blur, and it was like, nope, can't do that.
Yep.
Yeah. Equipment failures. It's constant. It's constant in our life.
Yeah.
But that was pretty cool.
Just need the money.
I thought it was. See now this kind of prompts the question though that I mean you mentioned the desert scene versus practical versus controlled. You'll see definitely look at the link we post. There's a video. They show this. It's an exterior desert scene, and it's just a guy walking and he jumps over some titling that they added in there, obviously, and you would think they would just shoot that outside and then add the visual effects in, but then they show that it was actually completely in studio, and I was blown away personally by it. I was like, wow, that's in studio. But then I kind of thought about it and I was like, why wouldn't you just go outside? It's a desert scene. The effects that they did don't seem like that crazy. I mean, it seems like you should be able to find a place you could shoot that without having to do the extra, production that doing it in studio was. But that's just me. I don't know. Maybe I like doing things the easy way versus putting a lot into visual effects.
Well, the way that they usually space these things out, it's you want to get everything done in the first week as soon as possible. Maybe you don't have all the actors at the same time, so maybe it was faster for them to do it in the studio instead of going out to a desert and lugging out the equipment and everything to do it on another day.
I don't know. Lighting something to make it look like it's outside seems like it's a headache on top of the visual effects time to then put the effects in. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, Zane, you've kind of experienced that. You've done a little bit of editing on like iMovie and things like that.
Nothing to the degree you guys have. I made a little like AMV sort of thing. That's about it.
But you know like how long that takes.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah, most definitely.
it took you like I think what 3 days, 4 days, a week.
My thing was really small. It only took me like 2 days.
Okay.
It was
I've always been somebody who I'm like a day in camera is a week in post. It's like something that you could fix that day
Oh,
to
that's
fix it
perfect.
later is like it's hours longer than it if you say just fix it in post. That's a whole process.
For example, changing the color of someone's clothing takes like
I don't know what you're talking about.
takes
I don't know what
like
you're talking about.
so long. 90 frames
we-
of that. It's
Did
so
we sign
annoying.
an NDA for that? Did we?
I don't know.
I don't think you did, so I guess you're fine.
what's
Oh.
an NDA?
Non-disclosure agreement means you can't talk about it. Essentially, I don't think
Legal stuff boring.
we did though, so I think we're fine. We won't really talk more
Hopefully.
about it though. Yeah. If
The title
if there's
of the movie is.
if
wait,
there's a
what is the title
podcast
of
that
the
doesn't
movie?
come out for next week, we will
You'll know
miss
why.
you because I'm in jail. I'm in federal jail.
I'll send a picture.
You're
I'll
not gonna
tweet
do
it.
You're not going to do the
Reddit
podcast from jail?
Oh yeah.
Jailbird podcast.
That's a good name. I like that.
We already have echo problems from here. Now put us in a concrete room. Pretty sure we'll. That sounds like it would be great audio quality.
With the guy across the hall who keeps flirting with you.
You know I'll flirt back though. For those
Such
of you
a
who don't
whore.
know, I'm totally straight. Just saying. I make a lot of gay jokes though.
Except for that one time you kissed a guy.
Yeah. Except for
Me
that one time.
specifically.
That's gonna sound really gross.
It's okay. I'm not actually even recording. We're just riffing.
Okay. yeah.
This is a safe environment. Just tell me all your dark secrets. It won't go to anyone.
So when I was 12,
That one time in band camp. So Zane, you were talking to me earlier about anime lists. Which,
Anime.
Which, by the way, big shocker that you're talking to me about anime
segue.
because you don't always talk about anime all the time.
Oh, yeah,
Every
no.
single moment of the day.
Yeah, because anime isn't my life or anything.
Wait, hold up.
Anime.
Grab the
Just
wall.
turn to him and tell him stop watching Naruto and just start on Naruto Shippuden.
I don't get.
There's no reason to start back
I
there.
don't get your hate on this. Okay, so Zane, to fill you in on this conversation,
No, you... Oh,
they
wait,
finished.
Yeah.
They finished making Naruto. I think they finished the manga, not the anime, right? So they finished making the manga, which I never thought would happen. I think it's like I thought it'd be like Bleach, where it just never ends, or One Piece, and so I decided I'm gonna rewatch it.
I think Bleach did end.
and catch up. If it did, I don't know,
I
but
think the animation ended.
they both went on way longer than they honestly need to.
No, I think the
I'm gonna
anime
get
is
so
still
much
going.
hate for those comments. And so Nate basically was saying, "Why don't you just start Shippuden?" I think is how you pronounce it. Why don't you just shart?
You should just shart, man.
And
Just shart.
So his issue was that he
words.
was watching up with the anime and then he stopped. So he was already in Shippuden. And then he
Shippuden.
just stopped. And then he just stops and he's all, oh, well, I'm going to rewatch it because people said that the manga ended, so the anime is going to catch up. So he starts back at Naruto.
Episode 1. Yes.
Well, it's good. I get it, though. Cause,
Why
like,
would you start back at Naruto? The animation wasn't as good. The
Oh,
fights
hold on.
weren't as good.
I think there was just less frames in
Dude.
the animation.
Just saying.
15 frames.
Obito versus Kakashi.
No spoilers.
It's not a spoiler.
For
Everyone
those
knows it.
for those in the audience who haven't watched it,
Those are just two names.
but we know they fight.
Everyone fights.
everybody.
So
yeah,
there you go.
I think any mashup really happens.
Hey, Naruto could be a bunch of a movie about or a show about ninjas that just hug each other a lot.
See, I don't watch Naruto, but I feel like in Naruto, I'm almost 100%
Yeah.
sure Naruto probably fights Naruto. I don't know how.
What?
That's
But
in all the
that-
games.
Yeah.
People
Random.
always play one version of Naruto and then the other.
Oh yeah, there was
It's
this.
it happens somehow.
There was
Probably.
this weird
I've never seen
filler
this
episode where they had like a mecha Naruto.
Mecha Naruto. I've seen
was-
pictures of that. I didn't know if it was actually in
Is
the
it
anime or
anime
not.
great?
There's so
And-
much
Just
unneeded
make up
filler with
whatever.
that anime, and when the manga's over, it's like, guys, stop making these random stories that no one cares about. Just go with the rest of the canon so we can finish this. It's been like 15 years.
But now-
my
Okay.
my personal opinion on your Naruto conundrum is
Your professional opinion.
my professional.
You have a PhD.
Yes, just in anime. And it's to read the manga of Naruto, and then every time you get to a fight scene, go watch the fight scene on YouTube or something, and then start at Shippuden actually watching.
Okay,
That's my opinion.
I hear you. I'll turn to your brother. Does he read?
I do. Actually, Naruto
I do.
Naruto is actually one of the few mangas that I actually like really stuck with. Like I used to be a big manga reader actually, and I would read it online actually, and I would read it all the time. It,
Do you
it was
know-
fantastic. The manga's awesome because it does take out all the filler. But there's an anime list that lists the filler episodes. I'll just skip those. I like origin stories. I like seeing where people come from.
But you've already seen Naruto.
Right, but I haven't seen it in a while. It's just like rewatching a movie. It's you rewatch a movie because you don't remember every little detail. So I'm rewatching Naruto because especially Zabuza.
putting
I love
yourself
Zabuza.
through-
I love that whole thing, and that's in the
but-
first season.
Yeah, but you're putting yourself through so much pain because I remember just you watching it and you're all, oh, Sasuke's such a bitch.
He is such a bitch, but I don't think that changes. I think that just continues on to Shippuden. He's just a stronger bitch. But my reason for wanting to go back. See, I think you're making it a thing of, well, I'm saying Naruto's better than Shippuden. I'm not saying that at all. Shippuden is, in all respects, more superior. But I like watching from the beginning to the end because I feel like to understand the hurdles, starting at whatever is the best. I never understood the whole idea of, start at this season because this season's better than that other season. Because to me, you need that last season. You need the season beforehand to get it, to understand it. I mean, even if it's bad, you still need to know it's bad because you still need to see the bad to appreciate what's good about it. Yeah, I when I do get to Shippuden, whatever, I will be like, thank God, because I will say it is annoying that they announce their attacks every single time they do it, and that they talk about, or they say their hand signs all the time, which I know that they stop doing that. And I will be happy that they stop repeating what just happened on the screen 3 times. They literally will be like, Naruto, it'll happen, then Naruto will explain how it happens, and then Sasuke will explain how it happens from his perspective. And it's like something like that will happen, and you're like, okay, I get it. He tricked him. Cool, move on. But you have to see the bad to see the good. You have to see the bad to appreciate the good. You can't just be like, because otherwise I just go on YouTube and, like you said, and watch all the fights, and then that's it, because that's the best parts. Just go on YouTube, watch every single fight from season 1 to the end of the manga or the end of the show, and then I'm like, all right, I'm good. I've seen everything there is to see in Naruto because those are the big moments.
I just don't get going back to the beginning. That
Origin.
But you've already seen it.
Rewatching it. People rewatch things all the time. Why is this weird to you? People rewatch things all the time.
Because it's so long.
So? It's actually not that long if you cut out the filler. That's what, and which is what I'm going to do, because I know there is a lot of filler. There's like a season and a half of filler.
There's over 200 episodes.
So? A lot of them are filler.
And then on top of the 200, you need to watch in Shippuden to catch up to like 3.
I think it's funny you're bitching about watching an anime.
Yeah.
Oh, boo-hoo. I have to watch episodes of a show. It's so hard. I'm going to probably watch it while making money on my computer, doing visual effects, but damn it, it sucks. I don't want to
man.
watch boring old anime episodes.
Hey man, my background noise needs to have some substance, okay?
Oh my
Although
God.
I'm not paying attention, it needs to, I want to hear. Oh, he uses fire sign to make the fire jutsu. Oh,
you
he
might as
used
well. You might as well just watch the fights on YouTube. Like that's That's apparently all you need is just an hour-long loop of the best fights of Naruto, and just leave it on. Leave that on because that's what, in my opinion, you're getting. What were you gonna say, Zane? You started talking and then
It was so long ago. I don't even. Whenever you get these two fighting, you just gotta wait until they're
No,
done
you
with
jump
their little
in.
spout.
that sounds great on a
You jump
podcast.
into the
Don't
fight.
talk.
You jump into the fight.
Start swinging. Just start swinging every direction. The only one that needs to win is you.
That's all you can do. Actually, what Sage tried to bring up
Tried
Before
to.
we brought up
before
the tangent.
Naruto just happened was that Crunchyroll. I mean, it already started, but Crunchyroll just emailed me, and I was like, "Oh, this would be an interesting thing to talk about." They
You and
just
Crunchyroll
had
talk
their
all the time.
what?
You and Crunchyroll talk all the time.
Yeah, yeah, all the time. Yeah, they email me.
Pen pals.
Yeah,
I get it.
I love them.
Send dick pics.
Yeah,
Cool.
sometimes my boobs.
Why does it always get gay with you guys?
I said boobs. Boobs isn't
Man boobs.
gay.
It can be.
I mean,
It can totally be gay.
Whatever.
Not that that's a problem. I'm totally accepting
Okay.
of
Anyway,
the man
Why
boobs.
does it always get sexual with you?
Crunchyroll emailed me their
didn't.
2015 winter lineup, and I thought it would be just something to bring up, some news, some current stuff.
What's the best stuff?
Okay, it's gonna be personal opinions mostly, because
No. Professional opinions. You have a degree in anime. You are on record as saying you have a degree, so we will take you to court if you're wrong.
okay, fine.
Dr. Zane's session is now.
Personally, one for me. Sage doesn't really like this anime, but I love this anime.
So I'm going to take you to court, apparently.
Yeah, Sage is gonna
We're
take me to
already
court.
starting on a bad foot.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Journey to Egypt. I don't know the sub name or subtitle. or
Sounds
whatever
like
you
a
call it.
ridiculous title. It better be a comedy.
So,
No, it's a. Yep.
have you ever seen the YouTube video of like the I'm not gonna be able to find this in the link dump, so don't look for it. But it's like two German dudes just working out, being buff, making fun of a bunch of people who are, not actually all buff and tough and everything. That I haven't watched much of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but that's what that anime looks like to me. It looks like a bunch of really pretty men
Yeah.
who are really buff,
Yeah.
hugging each other a lot.
No.
They are hugging each other a lot. Every time I've looked on your screen
There
when you're
is-
watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, they are like either crying beautifully,
What?
they're like making a serious face while crying into the
No.
sunset, or they're
What?
hugging another man
We obviously didn't watch the same show.
every single time.
I mean,
Sage, you might be confused with the stuff you look up. when no
it's
one
yeah,
else is
yeah.
here.
You
it's
got
the
a lot
most
of-
anime I think you watch.
It's totally anime. Like it gets crazy.
A dude's wife gets resurrected. Spoiler, by the way. A dude's wife gets resurrected.
Wait,
She's
where
all
is
naked
this?
and stuff, and then she turns into like this spider thing zombie that eats his heart out. And he
What? I don't
and he-
even remember this plot
This
that you're
is
talking
this is what I
about.
remember of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. She's naked the whole time, by the way. She eats his heart out, and he looks at her crying, serious face. This is where I get the crying serious face, as he says "I love you" and falls over dead.
This is a
This
lie.
this is how I remember it.
No, this didn't happen.
And
This definitely didn't
and
happen.
she gets away, and that was all I watched. I don't know if the guy survived without having a heart. Like maybe these humans have multiple hearts. I don't know.
Why
They're
was
time
the
lords for some
nudity-
reason.
Why was the nudity such a poignant fact that you had to just point that out?
Because I was just like, why,
Dude, I think
why
you're-
is she still naked? Like when she resurrected, I get it. She was naked when she was resurrected and everything. You would think she would go get some clothes.
But
you would think it'd be
I think,
cold.
wait, I do
People
not.
don't get buried naked.
I don't remember this at all. So I think Sage is talking about a totally different anime.
I no. This is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
No.
I watched this episode. I was like, I'm gonna give this a chance. Let's just watch that episode that Zane's watching.
Where
I sat
did you
down.
start from?
Wherever you were watching it. I just watched it on your computer. It was weird. It was a weird anime.
Well, I'll give you the basic of season 1 if you want to go start that. Zombie, vampire things
He's proving my point.
come into play. And our protagonist, the only way to defeat them is to master the art of Hamon, which is focusing your chi or something like that. I don't know exactly, but it's a part of your breathing technique, and you have to breathe right, and you can center your energy and use the Hamon to do special hits and stuff.
This is not a highlight reel. You're getting very specific.
This is an idea. This is an idea. This is an idea of what it is. And then season 2 comes around, and you got that kind of idea until you get to season 3, and they totally change the combat system entirely. Everything's different.
Combat system. Like a video game.
Yeah, they have a video game.
They
for
do
it,
have a video game, actually.
and I played it, and it's nice.
Is it really?
It's not, but
I would think it'd be pretty crappy.
It's it doesn't have good It doesn't have the best mechanics, but it's super true to the show and beautiful.
You know what that reminds me of?
Yeah.
Samurai Flamenco.
What?
As soon as you hit episode 7, just goes off the rails, and you're
Everything
all,
changes.
What's going on? Until you get to the final episode, and they're all, oh, this is what was really happening.
At least it's better than the other animes where it's like, oh, I finally overcome this ultimate boss that's been like 3 seasons, and then it's like they're finished, they're resting, they're fine, they're done, and then there's just another guy who's much stronger who for some reason they have to go fight now.
No, the main
Yeah.
boss is still alive, actually, and we're going to see him in season 4.
So
That's the journey to Egypt. He's
Was that
in
the
Egypt.
only thing on the list?
what
No,
else?
no.
What
That's-
else you got?
That was
Doctor
my
anime
personal
anime Dr. Zane. What's next?
That's the one I'm most excited for,
Take control of your class.
and I've started watching. The next one
He's a teacher now.
right below that is actually one I haven't started yet, but season 2 of Aldo shit. Aldanaha Zero. I don't know if that's the correct
How hard was
pronunciation.
the test to get your doctorate?
Pronunciating the names. Pronouncing the
kinda-
names. That's the word I was looking for.
The test was one question. They said, "Do you like anime?" And I said yes, and they said, "You pass." That's how I got my doctorate.
Are you an otaku?
Damn.
Good enough. Anyway, which the basic understanding I got from that show is planet Earth journeyed out to like Mars or something, and now there's a Mars colony and an Earth colony, and the people on Mars think they're way better than Earth.
Planet Earth journeyed out? Like the whole planet?
No, Earth. Earth people colonized Mars, and the Martians, technically, they're humans, but they're Martians, are like a higher class. And then I think a war breaks out between the two planets. And it's very sci-fi, super anime,
It actually doesn't
goody
sound that bad.
goodness. And it looks like it
These
has
are
really
all
good
only
animation.
Japanese, though. There's no English dubs yet.
No English dubs yet. JoJo is starting, the English dub has started, I think, but they're still only on like season 3,
Well, you gotta
maybe.
pick with that stuff. Like for me, I watch anime. If I start Japanese and I'm doing the English subtitle, I can't do the English dub.
I can
I
adjust.
cannot. No, I can't do it. It sounds wrong to me. It bothers
I
me.
can switch.
It bothers me. I can't do it.
The only issue you have
Vice
is
versa as
you
well.
can't do English subtitles if you're working. Because you'll be going,
Well, apparently
What
for
are
you,
they
you don't
saying?
care what
Hold
they're
on.
saying. You just like the fight scenes.
hey, I like
Do you hear the bitterness in my voice?
you just have problems, okay?
Um,
Because Shippuden is better than Naruto, and you shouldn't be watching the old ones.
fair enough.
You've already
Um,
watched them.
Nate, you win. Well, all right, one more. What's our top 3?
We never win.
The one that next looked most interesting to me was The Testament of Sister New Devil.
I see it. Is she naked on your?
No,
you're looking
no.
this up on a
It
phone.
looks like she's wearing a bikini.
Ah,
Anime style, man.
typical beach scene. You got to get that one beach episode.
With the volleyball
Yep.
and the light glistening off of the water droplets.
This one I'm
Yeah.
the least educated on, but it looks like it has nice animation, and the story seems kind of interesting because the main character in this has a parent that exists. He's not an orphan like a ton of anime people.
Or were the parents live separately from them for whatever reason?
I guess he doesn't have a mother in the picture though, so he's halfway there.
Single dad.
Anyway, the protagonist's father remarries, and his new stepsister is some sort of demon thing, but she's a kawaii cute girl thing, but she's also devil demon thing. I don't know. That's the one I'm least educated on, but there's the top 3 for me.
What type of anime is your favorite type of anime? There's many genres and many sub genres. Talking today is awful. What's your favorite? Like, if you had to pick one anime to recommend to someone who's just starting anime, what would you pick?
One anime to what, a specific anime or like a genre?
Well, I mean, obviously, if you're gonna pick this one, that would be your favorite genre, wouldn't it?
Not necessarily.
Not really. Oh, okay. Well,
for somebody just starting,
genre, what's your favorite? Let's start with what's your favorite genre, then what's your favorite anime, if they are different.
Man, this is hard. Favorite genre, I guess I would go with just basic action, sometimes magic, kind of stuff.
All right.
What I'd suggest to a person like who is first starting watching would be Ouran High School Host Club.
Really interesting.
Because actually,
I didn't like the ending of that one.
Oh, it doesn't have a good ending, but because I actually have gotten newbies of anime or whatever you'd call them,
boobies of anime
newbies. To actually
same difference.
Sit down and really like that show, because I don't know, I think the humor just appeals to a Western audience. It's got some cutesy art. I don't know. That's another genre of anime that I like, and it's like I feel weird that I like it, but harem anime are just fun to watch sometimes. A good, fun watch that you don't have to get too invested in. I'm watching Infinite Stratos right now, season 2.
That's a good one.
That's fun.
That's a good one. Nate, how about you?
All right, here's the guide to introducing any noob to
the overall
anime.
guide from the
overall guide. You have them watch
doctor.
Angel Beats, then you move them on to Baccano, then you have them watch Code Geass.
Okay. Code Geass is good. I definitely think you're right in Code Geass. What is your favorite anime genre, though? If not one of those.
I don't...
Baccano. That kind of genre. I don't know. Is that action, drama, comedy?
Adventure.
Yeah, that one's hard to define, actually, now that you made me think about it.
Fantasy.
It's too hard to just pick one genre, because I like
really?
all of them.
See, I'll do it real fast. Harem anime.
Oh, yeah.
I like harem anime, not for the perverted reason, though.
Okay, we walked in on you watching an AMV entitled what, Sage?
My Perverted Life. But that's completely different because that's a great anime. Yeah, that's great AMV. No, the reason I like harem animes, oddly enough, is because it's very opposite of what you normally see. It's a bunch of women fighting over a dude rather than a bunch of dudes fighting over a chick, which is, I don't know why. I mean, you see that a lot in Western culture rather than the other way around. So I kind of like that different take, as well as, but I don't like just the pervert ones. See, the problem is a lot of harem animes get bad raps because they feature a lot of the like sexual parts. I like ones that they have a romantic end to them, like they have the guy likes one girl and his objective is to get this one girl, but every once in a while he's like, but what about this other girl? I kind of like her too, and you get that little like back and forth thing. I don't know why. I've always liked romance animes. I like action animes a lot, so just to kind of butch myself up there a little bit more, but I love romance animes. I don't know why. It's kind of been a little guilty pleasure of mine.
So what would you have them watch to introduce them to harem?
Well, I mean, I would definitely...
To introduce to harem, I would say Ouran High. Right?
No.
What would you say?
Well, see, but that's the opposite. That's actually... That's breaking it again, because that's a bunch of guys and one girl. But there's actually no romance in that one. That's the weird thing. They hint at some romances, but it's all fake for the whole thing.
They do.
Spoiler.
They have a defining guy, though.
but they never get together. There's no defining end moment.
Sure.
I really, oddly enough, and this one I'm totally defeating my point of I don't like the sexy ones, but I do. What?
I'm so
You're
ready.
laughing.
Just go. Say
What?
it. I'm
I was
hoping
gonna say
for a certain answer.
I think it was Rosario Vampire. I
Oh,
no.
really
That
I
is good,
really
though.
like Rosario Vampire, but I am defeating myself because they do the sexual thing a lot with them. They they got the
Yeah,
bikini
there's
scenes.
a succubus that fights over.
There's the bikini scenes. There's the over sexualized. So I am defeating myself a little bit with it, but I really like that one. I want them to come out with more. If you read which I don't know if they're going to, but the manga for that one is fantastic. It actually gets really deep by the end of it. And I'm not going to spoil anything. Just read the manga. I'll post a link, and you can see all of these animes in one click of a button.
The
Have
reason
fun
I was
getting all of them.
the reason I was laughing was before you said which one you would have them start with. You said I'm gonna contradict myself with the sexual thing. I was almost 100%. You're gonna say, "Oh, I tell them to watch High School DxD." Because in my personal opinion, if you go and watch the dub and sit down with somebody else, it is it's the best experience you can have watching anime with another person ever. Because they use the funniest words ever. They have like
They
100.
westernize it,
Yeah,
right?
they have 100 words to explain boobs. Like they're like, it'll change in the same sentence. They'll be like, "Man, I want to touch those fun bags. They look very boobalicious." Like that's probably a sentence.
They probably say it that seriously too. Like not even like voice acting at all. It's just they're reading it. It sounds like a dude reading words out of a book.
Oh, that one's funny.
High School of the Dead is one of the most awkward ones to watch with another person. I think so much sexualness.
Oh yeah.
Or
They make
hilarious.
zombies.
Especially
they
that-
sexualize zombies in that one.
How do you
You know
do that?
how
weird.
ridiculous. I just
even?
remember the part on the freeway with the 50 cal. WTF.
How do boobs move that way?
How do boobs?
No, just her reaction. It's like WTF.
I think my last anime thing that I wanted to bring up was very nostalgia for me, and I think Sage will feel the nostalgia too. Nate, I don't know if this is for you, but I was looking through Crunchyroll. I was scrolling through because that's my main anime hub, if you didn't already tell. And I'm scrolling through, and I see a little gem. They have Zatch Bell
Ooh,
Yeah.
on it.
I like Zatch Bell.
Nope.
And I went
Really?
back
You didn't
and I'm
like Zatch
watching
Bell?
it.
No.
Wow.
Well, I'm actually going back and watching it, and it's not good.
I got really sad.
but I like have
I
nostalgia.
love Zatch. I love Zatch Bell.
You
I
loved Zatch
yeah.
Bell.
I got really connected to
I
the.
remember
to,
seeing
to
that
those two.
on
I love
Saturday morning cartoons and just instantly going,
Well,
I don't like this.
That's
I'm
the
going
edited
back to
version.
Dragon Ball Z.
also I read the manga. I didn't watch the anime, so that might be my difference.
Well, also a thing I thought I'd mention to you is it's funny because they only have the English version on Crunchyroll. There's no.
So for those
Sub.
who don't like reading,
Yeah.
Little
I
gem
think
for ya.
I think it was because apparently an English company like bought all the rights to it or whatever, and then made the English anime, and all Crunchyroll could get their hands on was an English version. But I thought that was interesting, and there is a lot of dumb stuff in that anime that they don't explain, or at least so far. I'm only at like episode 10 right now.
Is he a
and they
dude?
don't explain it. What, Zatch?
Yeah.
I think
yeah, he is.
Why is he wearing a dress?
I don't know.
it's a kilt.
He's.
It's not actually a kilt.
I don't know. If someone wore just a kilt, they're not wearing full clothes. I don't know. Because it's anime. I don't know. That's
Is
a
it a
weird
harem?
question. Huh?
Is it a harem?
Have you
No.
ever watched this?
No, it's a fighting anime.
Fighting anime.
How did you?
Oh, okay.
You didn't. He didn't. He probably watched it. Said, "Oh, there's a little kid in this. I don't want to watch it."
I
Like,
don't
that was probably your thought process. Oh, you know
No,
what?
it was
Actually,
the dress that turned
actually,
me
I
away.
kind of want to change my answer. I mean, to introduce them to harem anime, I would say Rosario Vampire. I think Gurren Lagann would be my first anime to watch.
I think that's if you want to establish them to what anime is in general. Like,
Yeah.
be like, do you want to see what anime is? Do you want to see what anime is? Here you are.
Yep, because you get almost everything in that,
You-
especially
you
the
get,
mech side.
You don't get harem necessarily, but you
No.
get the
The hypersexualization.
the hypersexualization.
with an underage girl.
Yeah, you get the bromances.
Why
with
is
Kamina
that-
and
She's
Needed
14.
to introduce someone to anime.
Because that's anime. Anime hypersexualizes
If somebody
everything.
gets through Gurren
Everyone is
Lagann,
pretty.
they
There's
can
not a
like
single
anime.
ugly person, except unless you get like those super realistic art style ones that I don't
Let's
like
just be
watching because they're
honest,
kind of
in
disturbing.
most entertainment, everyone's pretty, especially movies. When was the last time you saw an ugly person in Transformers, Sage?
Who was the one guy who was the detective in the second one who was standing under the truck nuts?
Shia LaBeouf.
No. I've seen his penis, by the
He
way.
was a comedic relief dude.
Speaking of Shia LaBeouf,
The comedic relief guy.
he still wasn't attractive. No matter what part he plays in it, you don't usually have very ugly people in that. Like especially the girls. Everyone has a rack on both ends, but then says, "Oh, but I'm so flat," and like things like that, where it's like, "Oh, I'm so flat," as they then have jiggle all up in their shirt. Don't know how that gets there if they're so flat.
You also watch.
That's
That's
a lot of anime. That's
of-
not just what I watch. That's a
No,
lot of anime.
That's a
But
lot
but
of
Gurren
harem.
Gurren Lagann does cover a lot of anime tropes and stuff
I guess.
that will establish like what anime is. Because you've got the women thing. You got the bromance.
You
Like
got
I was
the
saying.
women thing.
You got the women. You got the bromance between Kamina and what's his name? Whatever it is. He becomes protagonist season 2. Whatever.
Something with an H, I think.
It doesn't matter.
What an unmemorable character.
Why would you want to introduce them straight to harem?
No. This isn't a harem.
No. I'm saying if they're new to anime, that is Gurren Lagann.
Okay.
If you're introducing them to harem, I would say Rosario Vampire,
Yeah.
Harem's very weird.
which is weird because I don't think you ever like say I'm introducing somebody to an action movie. Like you don't really do that. But anime, you kind of need like a little bit of a toe in the water first to really before you get into the deep stuff.
It's just they need to find what type of anime they like, and apparently you like a lot of harem.
I do. I'll fully admit it. I like
A problem.
romance. I like romance, but I especially like the harem romances ones.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I like the more complicated ones like Bakuno and Dura.
I love Bakuno. I love the music in Bakuno. But I'm not saying I don't like those. But
Yeah,
But they're
it's just your preference for
Savannah's
other ones.
favorite actually, we're currently rewatching is Death Note. She loves mystery, mystery, slightly horror, not really, but mystery ones. Which Death Note is really good.
That is a good introductory
Even the
one.
English voice acting is good. I love the English voice acting.
Yeah,
But we're rewatching that right now, and that's pretty awesome.
I need more sword art.
Are you
Need the
caught up?
sword art
Are you caught up
to
with the
get me
second
through.
season?
Yeah.
It's good.
It was.
I was
it
listening
very
to
It's
the
sad.
to the
It's good.
soundtrack the other day. It's got an amazing soundtrack that
good. Yeah,
I didn't
that
even
would be
think
another
about.
one you should introduce people to.
Sword Art
Yeah.
is good.
That's
Yeah.
good.
There's a lot of good anime though, but for those who like anime, it's kind of one of those things where you kind of have to have an interest in it to really
Yeah, you also
push
have
them
to.
towards it.
You can't be someone who
No, just
thinks
push 'em.
animation is childish, or you're done. You don't want to watch
Yeah.
it.
You're fighting a losing battle.
Mm-hmm.
Getting away from this topic, we actually recorded a separate segment. This is the first time we're ever doing this. Yesterday, Rooster Teeth announced their RTLA office, which was really big news. And me and Nate, separately, we recorded a little 20-minute segment about what our thoughts were on it, and where we'll play that for you right now. So take it away, past Sage and Nate. What's up, guys? This is past Sage and Nate. We're recording this actually the day before we recorded the full podcast.
Yes, the day before of the week of the 1st of January.
It was a long time ago.
I'm joking. Isn't it February right now?
It is February. Thank you for dating this podcast.
Hey, I'm not that old. You're dated.
We just wanted to add this in real fast because we found out some really cool news that the old Inside Gaming crew, they split from Machinima a couple days ago, and it just got announced, literally like a minute ago. Yep, it was exactly a minute ago, that they will now be partnered with Rooster Teeth on a YouTube channel called Fun Haws. Fun House. Fun Haws. I think.
Haws.
Yeah, I think it's-
Haus. Haws. Which
Fun
is
Haws.
very interesting word. Is that a word?
Yeah,
Haws?
I bet you Fun House probably was taken.
So Haws.
Yep.
Fun Haws.
And it's it looks like it's gonna be
Feature.
kind of a general gaming channel, gaming news. They're gonna be doing podcasts. Pretty much, they're gonna be like a second Rooster Teeth, is what
So-
it seems like.
Okay. So is it basically like Inside Gaming with a different name?
Well, I mean, it's all of the Inside Gaming crew, so obviously they're gonna keep to what they know. But I feel like Inside Gaming and Rooster Teeth were very similar comedy styles. I mean, there were definitely their differences, but I'm a big fan of the Inside Gaming podcast. So I like all their podcasts. I would listen to, and I would enjoy them just as much as Rooster Teeth's. So it is Inside Gaming, but it's Fun Haws now. Got to get that right.
Fun Haws. I never watched much of their stuff,
Really.
but I heard a lot from you because you always go on about that stuff with them.
Adam Kovic is very funny, and
Okay.
Spool is funny. All of them are funny. All the guys there are funny. James, Lawrence, Matt, all of them. They're. I mean, it's one of those things where it's just like they. But my favorite thing about them was they're very opinionated. That was my favorite part about Inside Gaming. Like, there's a lot of news channels that were like, here's the news and that's just it. They just kind of talk about it. They kind of give opinions, and especially their podcast, which is I still think you should listen to. You should still go back and listen to the Inside Gaming podcast, which I don't know what they're going to call it now, or if they're even going
Fun
to do
Haws
it.
podcast.
They might not do it because it's. I mean, if they're with Rooster Teeth, that might be competing with other podcasts or whatever.
But they're doing gameplay.
They are doing gameplay, which does. Yeah, I don't know exactly how they're gonna do it. If they're gonna host it all on the Rooster Teeth site, or if they're going to. Because it seems like they're making a lot of things just for YouTube now. Like Game Kids is only on YouTube; it's not on their main site.
Yeah.
They got. Well, that's actually it. Game Kids was the one that was just on YouTube. So I'm kind of curious to see if they actually integrate Fun Haws into it.
It's very interesting because earlier we got Jim Sterling leaving the Escapists.
Yeah.
And before that was... Who else left?
I feel like
Marcus
there's
Beer left...
Game Over Greggy left, I think, Machinima,
yeah.
to make
Yeah.
kind of funny games. Lots of people are leaving their umbrella companies. The umbrella companies that have been going for they started in and they've been growing in and starting to become starting to splinter out a little bit more, which I love. I love to see this. I mean, obviously, Fun Haws jumped from one umbrella company to another, but
Yeah. It's very interesting to see how everyone just branches out after they've...
which is really cool because you're seeing. We're kind of blessed a little bit to see an industry grow. And it's the industry of web television. I think that's amazing. I mean, the fact that, somebody can find success through the internet from a startup, so many startups through the internet, and then can then branch off and make their own thing, hiring their own people, hiring a whole different thing, while that umbrella company still stays intact to hire new people in and push them along in their career. It's really cool and something you'd never see in TV or, legacy media. It's really cool.
Web television? Is that what it's called?
Well, yeah, I call it web television. That's the idea. It's the idea of serial content, but distributed, essentially self-distributed through the web.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like you get weekly videos or daily videos, which you get for news and television. So, web television. I think there was another word for it though.
Web media.
But the problem
Web
is with
video?
web media is
Web television sounds too
well.
television.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the the PC term or whatever. Because they originally, I mean, like web media, you could have anything from like an online magazine to, just random other things. So
I got it. Renaming it Kitchen Sink.
kitchen sink. That's That has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
That's perfect. That's a perfect name for it.
The really cool thing about this whole IGN being absorbed into Rooster Teeth that I think is really cool is Rooster Teeth, and this is from Bernie's Twitter, announced essentially Rooster Teeth's new LA home base, their West Coast RT, which I love the name. It's called RTLA is what a lot of the fans are calling it. And I think that's really cool because you're seeing an internet production company becoming a chain. I mean, they had, web stores in multiple countries before, but now they have an entirely new production house, on the west side of the country. That's huge
Which
expansion.
I've already applied for.
Have you really?
No, I'm joking.
Oh, I was about to say, I was like, we just found out. I was like, where'd you apply? Because let me apply.
But I will be.
And that's the curious thing is they're saying on the site that Funhaus and the West Coast Rooster Teeth office will be making appearances in their current content, and I'm kind of curious how that is. Are they going to have to actually fly back and forth from Texas anytime to do a podcast? That's gonna be a headache for Gus.
Yeah, we'll just do it over Skype.
Yeah, well, that's also a possibility. Terrible idea, but a possibility. Skype calls. I know a couple people that do podcasts over Skype, and you just to get the content done, do whatever you can. But God, does Skype kill the audio? It sounds so bad. I also need to watch my S's. I was editing the last podcast, and I have so many S's. I'm noticing them all now, and I have some harsh
Just in
S's.
that last sentence, you said like around 20 different S's.
Yep.
Actually, I don't know. Did someone count? Post below.
But yeah, I think that's a really cool thing to see. A company as small as Rooster Teeth that started in a bedroom, expanding to now, what is countrywide at the moment. I mean, will hopefully grow to be, an East Coast or even a international company. They got a big Australia fan base, a big English fan base. They could really grow even bigger than that, which I think is cool. You're seeing the hopefully end of some growing pains of web media. I think it's really cool. It's a really cool time in history for us.
I guess it's still. You just have to find your way in this history, though.
Nate is so cynical.
What?
You are always so cynical.
What?
I think of all the little things. Like I think how blessed I am to, even though I think I did miss the golden age where like people who were posting things on that newfangled thing called the internet, when YouTube first started and everything, they had it, and in my opinion, like they were able to be found a lot easier than nowadays.
Okay.
I will say that is a kind of a trial we have with current media, but even so, you still start to see, these companies getting the recognition that honestly I think they deserve. The idea that it still bewilders me when people ask, these web media companies, have you ever thought about doing a TV show, expanding to do TV? And a lot of the time the response is, why would we limit ourselves to TV? If you go on TV, there's things you can't say. There's things you can't do. There's things you can't, you have to show a certain thing of this or that to be successful. There's this weird barrier. The internet isn't like that, at least for now. The internet isn't like that, and it's amazing. And, it's starting to get the recognition it deserves from both its fan base and opposing media. It's amazing, I think. Yes, you do have to find your way, but it's still amazing to see.
Yeah. You're a little bit too optimistic, but yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not even optimism, really. It's just really amazing. Savannah's moving around the background. I just think it's amazing, and I'm really excited to see how Funhaus goes because I was a huge fan of Inside Gaming. I love their stuff. I love become, become become almost a second achievement hunter, or what they actually truly do. Because I do think one thing that they have a problem with is Funhaus will be kind of competing a little bit for against other Rooster Teeth things, but it'll be really cool.
Yeah, possibly, but it'll probably. I see Rooster Teeth going towards the what is it? What was the name of those early TV stations that became the giant corporate chains?
Like Fox and NBC and ABC and all those ones that, I mean, are corporate chains now.
I think that they're part of a different chain, but yeah.
Networks.
Yeah,
You're talking about networks, which ABC, NBC, and all those are networks.
Yeah, I see Rooster Teeth going towards that.
Well, honestly, I think they already are. I think they are just through they are their own network through web media, web television, whatever you want to call it. I think they already are. I already define Rooster Teeth as even though Rooster Teeth makes its own content.
Yeah.
Whereas like I feel like a network in the traditional sense is more like, it is just a blanket company. They find production houses, they find this or find that, and then they just manage. Rooster Teeth actually kind of does make their own content. But they are, I mean, just this right here, the Funhaus shows that they are becoming more of a network where you can go to Rooster Teeth to find different shows you like. I think I was telling you earlier. No, I think I was talking to Savannah. I think it's crazy because right now, what Rooster Teeth is, I can watch all their content in a week. The amount of content they put out is a lot, but I'm able to watch it all. But how crazy do you think it would be if it's one of those things like Kotaku is a good example. It's almost impossible to read every single article they put out because they put out like hundreds a day. It's literally impossible to watch every video on YouTube. But if you go to a network like that, you would think, I could if I sit down at ABC and watch all of ABC's TV shows for a day, you could do that.
Yeah.
But to think there's a network out there that literally makes so much content that you can't actually physically keep up with it, I think the first people that we're gonna see do that will be Rooster Teeth, and I think that'll be amazing. More shuffling in the back. But what do you think about networks being a thing? And I mean, they already technically are. You have Machinima. You have larger companies that ones that I don't know that are kind of like the background puppeteers that own like Tobuscus has his own that I never knew. I thought he was independent. PewDiePie works with a network essentially. Yeah. What do you think about that being in new media like this?
I feel that it was just inevitable, and it becomes necessary at a certain point to just get content that everyone wants to watch and see, because when stuff first starts out, as we saw with like YouTube, it was just a lot of cat videos or something. Then there was small bits where you could find
there's that one channel of the chick that just stared into the camera and smiled. That made
there was actually?
Yes, and it was a very popular YouTube channel. I've watched a couple videos. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but that's all she did. She just stared into the camera, didn't say anything. I think she's considered one of the first actual vloggers, but she actually didn't say anything. It's like really weird to watch.
Apparently that's what we should have did. But
no, we're not a hot girl.
There's random stuff like that which would get like tons of views, but it was like just nonsense. It was like filler for your day or something. And then there was more creative stuff like Freddy and Corridor Digital, Inside Gaming stuff.
Super Fight.
Yeah, Super Fight, where they would put more production. And
I would say Smosh probably was the first one to do that, actually.
Where they would put more time
one
and
of the first
production into their work to make it more of a ongoing thing and to regulate more creative and I guess meteor work. Networks eventually will get created because it's just someone has to manage it.
Yeah.
Now, is it going to get as ridiculous as having like radio wars that they used to have? Probably not. Because
hopefully not.
Yeah, we don't want to see PewDiePie and Tobuscus trying to stab each other in the street.
Well, what's really interesting is with satellite and digital waves, you have a certain spectrum that you can work in, and so that actually means you are actually what a lot of stations do is they have to rent out this amount of station. In fact, you see like cell phones being a big problem because AT&T has a certain spectrum for their cellular service, and then there's the news spectrum. Which really weird. I never knew this. You were actually renting airspace, literal airspace.
Yep.
But that's the beautiful thing with the internet is you don't have to. The internet is infinite and always expanding. It's just however big your data centers are and how fast your connections are.
Unless we get that issue with what was that, net neutrality.
Well, that's always going to be an issue, but I feel like but that's another thing that's amazing. I think with net neutrality is the fact that there are so many of these big moving companies that honestly, if net neutrality were to be a problem, they actually have finally now have the power. And I'm saying this like Rooster Teeth, is the one to this is new, but I think it's amazing because it's one of those things where we finally have the ability, companies that are primarily based out off the internet have the ability to have that power to say no, you can't do this, or no, you're not doing this. Obviously, there's always going to be that, big corporate guy holding his money and wearing the coat, but it is really amazing. I will say, I think as long as there is enough networks, to employ multiple people, creators of all different types and kinds, I think it will always be a good thing. It's a network is good, especially for the fact that, like, let's say Tobuscus, he plays a lot of video game, Let's Plays. Well, even now there is still controversy over, are you using our content or are you adding to our content and making it your own? Like, what is a Let's Play? All these things, things that aren't defined yet.
Yeah, that brought up an entire issue with Nintendo, which we'll probably talk about.
Well, and Nintendo still is no, and Microsoft keeps on trying to change what their service terms are and, everything like that.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where all these networks being created, even though it is kind of like you don't want to get under a blanket thing, and now you're working for someone else, everything, all the bad things that are associated with networks, you get the nice thing of, I'm one guy making videos in my spare bedroom. And if I have a multi-million-dollar company, if I have the Xbox, Microsoft Games, Nintendo, Sony, if I have one of those companies being like, you're stealing our content, we're taking you to court for all the money you've made, it's one of those things where you're one guy. You don't even know how legal terms work unless you're that one guy whose name I'm totally blanking on. He did Equals 3.
Equals 3?
Yeah. Shoot, I'm forgetting his name. He was a law student before he started his YouTube channel.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's one of those things where you're not one person. Ray William Johnson. That's who I'm thinking of.
Oh.
Ironically enough, I typed in
Equals 3?
I typed in +3. It still came up with Ray William Johnson though.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like you have no clue how to defend yourself in court or anything like that. You don't even know. You don't even have technically a definition of what it is you're doing to be able to defend it.
Yeah.
Under the freedom of speech or anything like that.
Oh, that reminds me of when we first started. It was the best thing ever. Was you going, all right, we need to make some videos for YouTube. Now,
Nice
how
and
do we
generic.
live off of this?
How do we make money? Which is still an equation I have not yet solved.
And then it's all, well, how do we make sure we don't get flagged to be able to make money so we're not on the street?
It's funny. I actually thought in my head, I was like, if we do get flagged, then we're doing a good job. Because someone out there is actually watching to flag us. I was like, that's my goal right there. Be a target. Just be a target.
As soon as we get flagged, that'll be the best. What is the old saying? All press is good press.
Yeah, there's no such thing as bad press. That's what you're thinking of. Yep. But yeah, so I just wanted to, get our initial reaction to this new site and get an idea of what you think is good, what you think is going to be bad about it, if at all bad.
Yeah.
If because there's a lot of potential for the future of this, of this site, future of this new channel. With, it already has great legs because IG already has a good fan base behind it. So it's going to kind of be cool to see how they pair up with Rooster Teeth, and especially, and this is the one thing I am really curious about, and I don't know what you think, but the fact that they are making content that is already made by Rooster Teeth, we'll get to see exactly how they handle that. Because that's been my problem a lot of times is how do you handle, like for us, we make a podcast. Obviously, what our ideas and what our news is completely our own and what we do. We don't re-podcast something, but when you're doing a Let's Play, it's one of those things where you're like, you got to think of something new. You got to think of a different way for your podcast to stand out, because otherwise it's just you and it's just another person playing video games. What about that makes you different? And I'm curious to see how they differentiate Funhaus from Achievement Hunter, or Funhaus from Rooster Teeth's live stuff, and what they do to make Funhaus its own thing, or if they just assimilate it and say, Funhaus was just a thing.
It's a very interesting take on all of it.
Yeah.
I always thought that it was more of a just have fun with it.
Right. Well, which it is. But it's one of those things where unless you are a personality, what are you doing new to innovate? What are you, and obviously innovation is natural. It kind of, you don't physically force yourself to innovate, but it's the same thing anyone asks, why do you read this book? What about this book makes it different from the other book? What about a movie makes it different from the other movie? Such as, Avatar is a good example. Not the bad one, the good one. What about Avatar made it different from the Pocahontas or Dances with Wolves? Even though it was a similar story, what about it made it different?
Okay.
You get it with every type of media. Then whatever it is will get compared to the other thing, and it'll be a compare and contrast. What does this Let's Play channel do for me versus this Let's Play channel? And usually it's, I like the personalities.
Yeah.
But
it's almost certainly always personality.
Yeah. But there's also times where you get this golden egg of, this one person just plays it and doesn't do any editing, and I love it. It's an hour long. I watch every single second of it because I love his voice. Or you get the more PewDiePie approach, where it's chopped up. It's got, you're essentially watching a highlight reel, and you have random jokes that wouldn't actually have been funny unless he edited them in. He will zoom in on somebody and shake do all these effects like shaking the camera when he shouts and everything like that aren't actually in the game, but he put it in there in post. And you'll have that. That's a difference. That's a difference in style that some people like. Some people like shorter content. Some people like longer. I love hour-long content. I love being able to watch a video for an hour kind of thing. That's my personal opinion. But then there's a lot of people, and Twitter's a good example, short. Keeping it short.
Yeah.
15-minute videos. That's all. That's the most they want to watch. I'm not one of those people, but that's why our podcast is so god-awfully long.
I'm one of those people.
You would like a 15-minute podcast? You should
30.
check out. You should check out.
Hour-long podcasts can be hours.
Oh, okay. I was about to say. I was like,
but
podcasts are nice.
I'm the person who goes and watches the Let's Plays that are 15 minutes, opposed to the ones that are an hour.
Right. Well, but that's also a thing. I also think that's a thing where you might like the 15-minute ones might not be because of the Let's Player as much as the game itself. What are they doing in the game? 15-minute long. To me, if I'm watching a 15-minute long video, I'm watching it for a purpose. But if I'm watching an hour-long video, I'm watching it to be entertained. And that's my thought. Like a 15-minute video is like a achievement guide to me. I'm looking for how do I do this thing, and I just want it. I just want that. I always hate when I get a tutorial video that is 15 minutes long, and I'm like, all right, I'll get to figure it out. But the first 10 minutes of it is, all right, guys, so here's what we're going to do, and here's what it kind of looks like, and we're going to kind of figure it out together. And I don't really like that. I like more like the Video Copilot type of thing, where it's like he will kind of joke around, but he gets to it. He gets to the point. His videos don't have to be long. Every single second of that video, he's doing something. But the difference between Andrew Kramer is that I will say is I love his personality. So I could totally watch a 2 hour long video of him just riffing. But
does he have a podcast?
I don't think so. He has a blog and then Video Copilot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he has a. He should though. That'd be a great idea. I would love to. I don't know who else would be on the podcast though.
Laser Revolver, sponsored by Andrew Kramer.
Sponsored by the internet. Cool. Well, this has been a quick little segment we wanted to throw in. So, cool. We'll send it back to future Nate Sage, and I think Zane's going to be on the podcast. We haven't figured that out yet, but take it away, guys.
Or don't.
All right, we're back.
Annyeong.
I'm sexy, aren't I? My past voice is super sexy.
How are you going to know where to edit that, by the way? Did you take down a time?
Do you know me? I will put it in wherever I will.
Oh, no. Don't say I'll put it in wherever I want.
I will put it in wherever, whenever.
Guys, you're getting on a sexual tangent again.
Kitchen counter.
Sage is...
Oh, editing? You're talking about editing? Never mind. I'll just look at the waveform.
Sage's favorite anime is Harem, and he'll put it in wherever he wants.
So, I guess Zane, while you're here, you weren't here for that. What are the names? Fun House.
I think it's house. It's
Something
supposed to just be pronounced house, I think.
What do you think about that?
I don't know much about it, but it seems like a fun house.
Cha. Any thoughts on?
I think it's definitely interesting. I'm sure you guys already covered everything. I just think it's interesting that all these people on YouTube are leaving their big companies to go do more. I guess this one's not independent, but you see these people rise up in a company and now they're all leaving them for what they consider bigger and better.
But I like that, honestly. I think that's good because that creates more jobs, because these people, if they can make it outside, they will grow, bring more people on, who then will grow under them, and eventually maybe split off from their blanket company, Yeah. I mean, even though there is still blanket companies, we still have the networks, Machinima, Rooster Teeth's becoming their own network, all that. They're still there. But
Umbrella's pretty big.
But they're able to bring people up. That it seems like there's a shift upwards rather than a stagnating, this is how we work, which I like. But we talked about that already, so cool. Well, I think we're just about at time. Any final thoughts going into this current week? Anything we're playing or doing?
I guess I'll go first. I got the original Legend of Zelda on my DS, so that's taking up most of my time because I've never played it before, and I'm not going to look up guides. I'm trying to do the experience, and so
You're
that's
fucked.
Yeah, I know. and that's what I'm doing. I want to go back to some gaming history, and I'm also playing the first Hitman, which is rough, but I'll get through it. Or I guess it's technically the second one.
You're in retro gaming right now.
Retro gaming mode, because I'm waiting for the next gen to come out with some more games.
Yeah.
So I'm going back to the past to fill in some time.
Yeah.
For what I'm doing this weekend, I'm actually trying to pick up learning Japanese, which that's not something you do in a weekend, but I'm starting lessons through just an app. But so far it's taught me a couple things, so I'll see if I get an interest and if it takes me anywhere.
Cool.
You know what the best thing would be is if you could just download to learn. Like in The Matrix.
I know Kung Fu.
Yeah.
Anything going on with you, Nate? Anything next week? This coming week?
Well, of course I'm finishing up some work, but as soon as I'm done with that, I'm gonna go hard at this animation, and we're gonna pump out some awesome content for you guys.
That we keep on plugging every single episode.
Yeah, and then we keep on not releasing because
Animation takes a long time,
yeah, and
and we're not very good at it.
Sage is a perfectionist, and will never say that's enough.
And we're not very good at it.
But yeah, we're gonna be doing all that stuff and lots of Dying Light. Hopefully, Sage will stop dying.
Light.
No.
Took my subject actually. I'm Dying Light. We haven't really talked about that. It's a good game. Get it. Get the game.
Well, unless you don't like free running or zombies, then I guess you don't.
Then you don't apparently like games because that's like everything.
No, it's not. The Call of Duty, no free running.
Zombies.
Battlefield 4, no zombies.
Free running.
There's no free running in Battlefield 4.
You can run and jump.
What? That doesn't mean it's
That
free
is
running.
that is free running. That is exactly free running.
That is not parkour.
It's a lot of fun though. We're having a lot of fun with it. Well, I think we might have a Let's Play coming out actually. Self plug. I don't really know if you have the footage to that, so maybe.
Burned it to the ground.
I took it and burned it to the ground.
Yeah, that's another conversation we have to have. But yeah.
Ooh, things are getting dramatic on the Lazy Revolver podcast. Conversations. Magic. The magic
Surprised
of
you don't want to
audio
talk about
podcasts.
Nazis again.
They're still the best. Bye.